Hello everyone. Tonight I've got something very, very cool, something I'm really excited about. Tonight we have the ReAction King Caesar from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Now, this is exciting to me for a few reasons. One, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. I don't know if I've actually talked about this. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, the original from 1974, is, as far as I can tell, my first Godzilla movie. And I say as far as I can tell because I was like 2 years old, 2 or 3, and so I can't definitively say which one was my favorite, but I'm reasonably certain it was Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. And of course, I fell absolutely in love with it, and for that reason, that movie's special to me, and so King Caesar's always been kind of a low-key favorite of mine, who just never really gets much attention. But this year is the anniversary of his movie, so it makes sense that we're seeing it, and it makes me really, really happy to be seeing it. So, yes, this wave includes King Caesar, Godzilla 1964 from Mothra vs. Godzilla, and Godzilla 74 Charged Up, which I think a lot of other folks believed would be the 74 Godzilla with like the blood on his mouth and the big like pylons magnetized to his body like in the movie. And I do admittedly think that would have been cooler. But, I mean, the blue spines look great too. And I do have both of the others ordered, but it's, I got those on pre-order via Big Bad Toy Store. So those will be coming in a little bit later. This was the only one that I got on the day on the website, because I just love King Caesar, and I was really, really excited to see this. So yeah, I don't think this is going to be a super long video. I just kind of wanted to talk about this. So I love the artwork there. That is really, really nice looking. You can see the nice collect them all section. One thing I am kind of curious about is what they're going to do for the like second version of this, the recolor, because I think which ones don't have other versions? Or multiple versions. There's multiple versions of Anguirus, Spyragon, Gigan, Godzilla 54. There is not a second version of the 55 Godzilla, so I imagine that maybe will be a... It does say grayscale there. There isn't a non-grayscale 55 Godzilla, so I don't know. Maybe it'll be the glow version, will be the next one, the next version we'll see. That would be pretty cool. There are other versions of 57, 62, 74, 84. There's a few Hedoras, there's a few Jet Jaguars. There's no other version of the flying Jet Jaguar, but regular there is. Yes, King Ghidorah, yes, Mechagodzilla, many Mechagodzillas. There's not another version of the half-transformed Mechagodzilla, but I think that's just like a Frankenstein of the 74 Godzilla and Mechagodzilla figures anyway. Yes, Megalon, yes, Minya. No Mogera 57. I would love a glow Mogera. That would be awesome. And then yes, Mothra, and yes, Rodan. So obviously there isn't a second version of Godzilla 64 or King Caesar as of now, because they were just released, but I'm very, very interested to see what a potential next version of this will look like. One thing that I think would be really awesome, and I don't know how feasible this is really, but if they did a King Balgan version, that would be so awesome. I would love that. Again, I don't know exactly how one would even go about that, because there's very scant information on what King Balgan even was supposed to look like. But if they did like a red version of this and called it that, that would be amazing. I don't know if that's even doable, though. A glow version by itself would be really awesome. So, without further ado, I am going to open this and we'll take a look. Alright, one thankfully, very easy unboxing later. We have King Caesar, and I have to say, I am really, really impressed with this. I am a big fan of the way this looks. So you can see here with the Godzilla reaction figures, there's always kind of a difficult line to walk between stylizing, you know, keeping them in line with the rest of the reaction line, and keeping them loyal to the design of the monster. And with King Caesar here, I feel like they've really done a fantastic job of striking that balance. So before we get into like comparisons, because there are some comparative notes I'd like to make, in terms of articulation, you've got the standard 5 points with the arms, the legs. A little stiff on this one. They don't have a tremendous range of motion, but they do move. And the head, which, because of the angle the head is attached at, I thought for a second it might have been a ball joint, but not so. It's just a swivel, but that's okay. It's still very nice. And does the tail move? The tail does move. That's nice. So you can have the tail curved upward or, oops, or down, like so. Maybe that's, no, because it pokes out. Let's see how's stability. Perfect. It stands perfectly. So, yeah, you can see King Caesar doesn't have super elaborate colors. The design is somewhat elaborate with all the fur details and stuff, but I think this is a really, really nice realization of the monster here. So I'd like to make a couple of comparisons, if you'll permit me. So give me 1 sec, I'm gonna grab some things. Okay, so here we have what was for a very long time, until today, my only articulated King Caesar toy. This is the Bandai America King Caesar. I don't remember the year this was originally released in. I'll put it right here. But I really, really liked this thing. It's different from the original Bandai one in that it's much more movie accurate than the original Bandai one. However, there are a couple of things about this that always kind of bothered me. First and foremost, the arms. The arms are only articulated there. So they can only move on this kind of awkward outward axis. As much as I love the positioning of them, and as great as I think this figure looks, that does bug me a little bit. And primarily, it's the face that has never quite landed for me. So one thing that I didn't even notice until today, because I knew this was arriving in the mail, and so I was looking at this morning, and I was looking at the little head gem here, and I don't know how I never noticed this before, but I noticed it's the wrong color. You can see on here it's blue, where in the movie and on the suit it's green, and on the reaction figure it's green. So that's a really odd discrepancy. I don't know what's up with that. I find that very, very strange. So there's that, and then I feel like the face is a little long, like the snout's a little bit long. This might be kind of like just my mental image of it, but when I think of the suit, I picture it having a little bit more of a little bit stubbier of a snout than this, as is apparent here on the reaction figure. But the big thing is the pupils, because in the movie, King Caesar does not have pupils. It has the eyes were made from car headlights, and on this figure here, they decided to give it pupils. I'm not exactly sure why. And big picture, it shouldn't be that big of a deal, but it really, I don't know, it bothers me because, again, King Caesar doesn't have pupils, and so it just kind of screwed with me. And so those put together, I have to say, as much as I love this figure, and I will always love this figure, it's always going to be one of my favorites in my collection, I will admit, I think this one is a little bit, this one feels more like the monster from the movie in my mind. Something about the proportions and the head really, really sells it for me. This feels more like King Caesar from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. For my money, just in my opinion. And I'm really, really happy with it. I absolutely love this. So let's have you scoot back there. So I gotta say, I really do like this. I know a lot of folks are not fans of the ReAction line, and I understand why. You know, people have legitimate grievances. I understand that the price is an issue for a lot of folks, and I am also not a fan of how expensive they are. I understand that they're solid molded, and that contributes to a lot of it. And also the company's just not as big as some others, so they don't have as many resources at their disposal to mass manufacture these as a lot of folks do. But all things considered, I'm still a fan, and I really love them. Particularly, I understand people not liking the ReAction figures if it's non-like monster stuff, like the Universal monsters and especially the Godzilla line, because the Godzilla ReAction figures are quite a bit bigger and heftier than the standard, like, regular humanoid ReAction figures. Like, I have the Voltron, and that thing's much... I like it, but it's way smaller and way lighter than the Godzilla ones. So, coupling that with how expensive we know the Godzilla license to be, I'm honestly kind of surprised these aren't more expensive. But regardless of where you stand, I get it, but I'm a fan. I love ReAction figures, and I love the deep cuts that they're able to make with the line, and I'm really, really happy with this King Caesar. So, I'm curious to know what you think. Are you a fan? Are you not a fan? How do you feel about this line? About just what kind of Godzilla toys you like in general? So, yeah, like I said, just a short one tonight. There is more Aliens vs. Predator on the way, and lots of more fun stuff in the pipeline. I've got a big video coming relatively soon, and I'm really excited about that. So yeah, I will see you again soon, and until then, please take care of yourself and others, be kind, and good night.